We are just 1 week into the season, and we've already had 4 top 10 teams take losses. We're already back to questioning fourth down decisions, play calling, what is or isn't a catch. I know everyone is dying to know Lance's thoughts on Alabama and my thoughts on the Irish. We'll get there, we promise. Stick with us. Does the SEC run through Baton Rouge? Is there a program out there that is actually feared anymore? And if you guys could see the text messages flying back and forth between me and my boy here yesterday morning about the rankings, you just laugh and sit back and say, yep, college football's back. This is Always Talking Ball. Tyler Noe, Lance Spartan. Real quick before we get started, as always, make sure you like and subscribe on whatever platform you're tuning in on. Make sure you're following on X, Instagram, and TikTok. And don't forget to stay tuned in until the end because, of course, we are going to give you all the best lines for week 2 via Guess the Spread. And, of course, our weekly recap episode is brought to you by Frost Buddy. The guys over at Frost Buddy were kind enough to send me a couple teams here. Had to support these guys. Obviously, it's almost like a helmet sticker. Like, they just did some work against the Orange this weekend and Joey A. We'll talk about them in a little bit. But, I mean, it's just sick. For all you Vols fans out there, like, the black is just nice. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of like their black uniforms they whip out in October, but as far as Frostbuddy goes, it's pretty sick. Go to frostbuddy.com/ATB. And after checkout, they will email you a 30% cash back to use on a future Frostbuddy purchase.
Dude, my dad and mom came over here tonight to grill out and stuff before we were recording here. My dad saw me using my Frostbite and he was like, "Is that thing I've been hearing you guys talking about on the podcast?" And I was like, "Yeah, man." And he had him a little bottle like Mick Ultra. And I had my can in it. And I was like, "Pops, come here." And I took my can out, took his bottle, popped it right in there. Dad was like, "So it fits the bottle and it fits the can." I said, "Dad, it not only fits the 12-ounce can, it fits the bottle. It fits a 16-ounce can. It can fit the fatty natties. It can fit energy drinks." I said, "No matter what it is, 10 in 1, it can fit in that Frostbuddy can cooler." Good stuff, man.
Yep, frostbuddy.com/ATB. All right. Let's talk about some games. We are going to try not to overreact, but we're human, so I'm sure we're going to overreact. We're going to talk about some winners first on here. We're going to start with the biggest game of the weekend. That was Texas-Ohio State. Texas goes in there as 1.5, 2-point underdogs. Ohio State wins the game 14-7. They've now won 7 games in a row against AP top 10 opponents. And all of those have come in the last 9 months. Coincidentally enough, in that time frame, they're 0-1 against unranked opponents, but we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, I mean, Ohio State, dude, like, what do you got to say about them? Like, their offense wasn't anything special. I mean, honestly, if we're talking about it, but the defense to be that good, like in the first game of replacing 8 starters on the defense and like dudes who went to the NFL, like again, they're Ohio State, like they're just gonna reload. But man, we're gonna talk about Texas here a little bit, but they made Texas look very average. And I promise you guys, all you guys are crapping all over Arch and Sark and those guys, which again, after how they looked on Saturday, you should be, but I promise you, they are not average. They are still a great football team. You guys act like you can't, like you've never seen teams improve over the course of a season before. Texas will do that. They will look better, but Ohio State, man, like again, we doubted them. We put out a video last week. Thank you guys so much. And we've got almost 500 comments on that video on YouTube.
And we have like 40,000 views on that video on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, it was just thousands and thousands of views. And you guys are still reaching out and still, telling us that, the prediction was wrong, which obviously we know that. And it's like you guys have never made the prediction. So next time, maybe watch the video before the game and give us your own prediction, for the game instead of just, watching it back afterwards. But whatever, man. Ohio State, just very, very solid defensive performance.
Yeah, like you said it, man. Replacing 8 starters, replacing the arguably the best defensive coordinator in college football, and then game 1 against a Sark offense who had all offseason to try to prepare for you. Just a masterful performance by Matt Patricia and that defense. And to all of the, I'm going to call them idiots, all offseason that talked about what an awful hire Matt Patricia was. And your reasoning for that was because he was a terrible head coach for the Detroit Lions. I remember Michigan fans and Ohio State fans in some of our videos going back and forth, and that was the number one thing that Michigan fans kept talking about, which I'm sure a lot of those are Lions fans,
Sure.
which, probably, I get it. You probably think he sucks as a head coach, but a head coach in the NFL does not correlate at all to what you're going to be as a defensive coordinator in college football. And dude, yesterday during the halftime show of Notre Dame and Miami, Dan Orlovsky got on that screen with his iPad and spent about 3 minutes just dissecting 4 or 5 different plays, showing what a masterful job that Matt Patricia did of showing one picture to Arch Manning pre snap and then post snap what he was showing them. And it had Sark, it had those wide receivers, and it had Arch Manning confused all game long. And it showed. Like Arch was never sure of himself. Again, some of the throws that he makes, like skipping the ball on a 5 yard crosser, like that has nothing to do with the picture you're showing him before and after. But the reason why they really weren't pushing the ball down the field, and the reason why me and you and some of our other buddies and some of these group texts that we're sitting there texting back and forth talking about, dude, has there been a receiver from Texas like open all game long besides one of those 3 yard crossing patterns? And the answer was no. They were hardly open all game long. They were
Yeah.
getting blanketed by those Ohio
Yeah.
State defenders. Now, that's twofold. That scheme that Patricia was just doing a fantastic job of scheming up his defense. And number two, that's how talented that this Buckeye team is and this Buckeye secondary was. But dude, yeah, that defense was nasty. My under 47 bet definitely ended up hitting. I think they could have played another game and it probably wouldn't have gone over that.
Yeah.
On the offensive side for the Buckeyes, honestly, I thought Julian Sayin was fine. So considering the defense he was going against, I mean, that's two of the best defenses in the country.
Yeah.
Like it is the casuals always after games like that. They're like, yeah, see, Ohio State's not good on offense either. Well, they probably would have looked really good yesterday against or Saturday against LIU Brooklyn.
Mhm.
They're playing one of the best defenses in the country.
Yeah.
Arch Manning in his first, like, I'm gonna call it his first, like, real, like, well,
Dude, they're playing one of the best defenses in the country, and, like, you barely even heard Colin Simmons' name.
yeah, dude,
And, like, they
yeah,
still held him to, like, 203 yards.
yeah, I texted you halfway the third quarter and I said, "Is Colin Simmons playing tonight? Is he playing today?"
Yeah.
And even Anthony Hill Jr., like, his name
Yeah.
wasn't called a bunch either. Like, it was kinda strange.
I mean, they held Ohio State to, like, 3 yards a carry maybe. I mean, I don't have the stats right in front of me,
Oh,
but
the Texas defense was great.
yeah, I
They were
mean,
great.
it was a masterclass. Like, the post-game win expectancy I texted you was, like, 18% for Ohio State. So, like, looking at the box scores and everything like that, I mean, Texas, they were in. I mean, and the thing is, people are like acting like Ohio State won 50 to nothing. It was
Yeah.
14-7. And this was just like the playoff game
Thank you,
last year.
thank you.
Yes, where it was 21-14 when they're on the 1 yard line. And if they score, it's a tie game. And then they obviously strip sack and it's a 14-point spread instead of a 7. And it's just
It's a very even match, bro. Like,
yeah.
those 2 teams could play each other another 9 times, and that game's gonna be your favorite saying that I like to say, a war every single time that those 2 teams play.
And we have no
Every
idea
single
how
time.
it would have gone in Austin.
Exactly. Like, those 2 defenses are so good that those 2 defenses are gonna keep each other's team in that game no matter what. It's just a matter of which team's gonna make the plays on offense in that semifinal game. You had the Travion Henderson deal, and you had
Mhm.
the strip sack fumble for Jack Sawyer. There's the
Yeah.
2 plays that Ohio State made.
Yeah.
Texas didn't get in the end zone when they on that red zone opportunity. They didn't make the play. Texas in this game got in the red zone, got to the 1 yard line, couldn't stick it in and couldn't score again. I think they got in the red zone again at one point, couldn't score again. So again, Texas didn't make the winning plays to win the game. Ohio State did. That's the sign of a championship program and a championship team. They make the winning plays to win the game. And one more thing I want to say, like, the defense again, Texas did a really good job against the best player in college football and
Yeah.
Jeremiah Smith. Like, considering they did a really good job on him, but man, how bad of a dude is Carnell Tate?
Yeah. We
Like,
called it.
yeah, we did. We said before the game, Carnell Tate would probably, like, he's the one that may end up having one of the bigger games. He may have a big year because of all the attention that is going to be paid to Jeremiah Smith. But, like, it doesn't matter if the attention or not. Carnell Tate's one of the best receivers in college football, even without Jeremiah Smith on the opposite side of him or on the same team. It reminds me a lot, dude, of Emeka Egbuka last year, how smooth and just how, like, just a bad dude, man, out
Yep.
there running around. That's Carnell Tate. But, I mean, Ohio State, They're just incredible win to start the year with all that they lost. Now you look at their schedule, you start projecting out going forward. I mean, I know
I mean,
they
they
go
all they
on.
all but punched a ticket to the CFP in my mind. I
Right. I
mean,
mean, I know they've got a road game at Washington. There may be another
not
like
tricky.
decent road game in there somewhere that's kind of tricky. Oh, at Illinois. That's trick.
Michigan.
Yeah. Michigan, obviously, in the big house. Like until they beat them, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously that's a tough one. And then that game against Penn State.
Mhm.
Do you see them losing? I'll just say, do you see them losing more than 2 games this year after this one?
No, and I'm
Neither.
already looking. I'm looking at that Penn State game, thinking what Matt Patricia's going to do to Drew Aller. But I mean, it's we question Matt Patricia, not like his defensive coaching ability. I think we were right to question like how they were going to look with two brand new coordinators and how it
Mhm.
was going to look. And on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, like I said, they didn't light the world on fire, and they were going against a really good Texas defense. So
Yeah, I think overall offensively, I think a lot of the game plan on offense too was they realized pretty quick Texas wasn't scoring
yeah,
on them. They didn't. I don't think they really wanted to open it up too much. And like the only way Texas could get really in that game, strip sack, fungal, pick six, a non-offensive touchdown type deal. So still, Brian Hartline now gets a little bit more kind of leeway to work his way in because there's not any like big games coming up in these next
yeah.
couple of games for them. Uh, I, I'm gonna pat myself on the back here. I think I worded it perfectly the other day, man. Honestly, that I don't think that Matt Patricia was like when you say we were questioning him. There's a difference in a question mark and a weakness.
Yeah.
We weren't saying that Matt Patricia and Brian Hartline were weaknesses. We were saying that that is a question that you're going from
Mhm.
the best tandem of coordinators in college football to a guy that hasn't called a defense in a few years because he hasn't been a defensive coordinator in a few years in Matt Patricia, and he hasn't done it at the college level. I don't know if he's ever done it. Maybe he
Like
did a
20
long time
years.
ago. Yeah, like
Yeah.
maybe a long time ago. And Hartline has never been the primary play caller other than maybe a couple of games a few years ago before Ron Day took the reins. Again, that's a question, not a weakness. Obviously, we know Matt Patricia after one game. It's one game, but after one game, very impressive performance and definitely not a weakness.
So we had Carnell Tate on our top wide receivers going into the 2025 season. I think at around number 9, and I think we had Ryan Wingo 11. And so
Mhm.
we're going to transition to talk about the Texas offense here because I think that's a big talking point. Obviously, everyone wants to talk about Arch and how sketchy he looked and just not great, which we'll get to it here in a second. A, play calling didn't do him any favors, and B, well, there's a reason we had two Ohio State wide receivers ahead of Ryan Wingo. And Wingo looked great at times, but who else at that wide receiver position was creating any sort of separation or having any sort of speed? When they lost Matthew Golden last year, I think people realize, shoot, like they're a little slower now. Do we see like Khalil Lockett or Jamie French a little bit more in some of these games where they're playing? I don't even know who they play, like UTSA or whoever, but some of these games against G5 opponents in the next couple weeks.
Probably, man. I would imagine. I mean, thinking they're 5-star top receivers. I mean, we see that position in general. The freshman, when we saw it, Malachi Tony, is that his name from Miami?
Yeah,
Young receiver that was doing what he was doing. We've seen it obviously. Ryan Williams, Jeremiah Smith last year. Uh, I mean, it's a position where you see true freshmen step up and make big plays and make impacts early on. So probably so, because again, I know it's Ohio State and it's hard to really gauge, but it looks like they do need some help on playmakers on the outside. I mean, we both thought that would probably be a strength for Texas,
yeah,
but after one game, it definitely didn't look like it. But that doesn't mean it's one game. That doesn't mean that that's going to be a weakness for Texas going forward. But it is, again, a question now going forward. Uh, Injuries, the tight end that transferred in from Cal, he's going to be fine. The wide receiver transfer from Stanford, I don't think he played
yeah.
in the game. Like that's going to be someone that they're counting on going forward. But yeah, I mean, I think with the run game with Baxter and Wisner, Arch is going to improve. He is going to get better. We've never sat here on this podcast and said that Arch Manning was going to be God's greatest gift to quarterback and was going to win the Heisman and stuff like that. We did have him as a really good quarterback and thought that he was going to be one of the better quarterbacks in college football. It's just one game and it was on the road in the horseshoe against the Buckeyes. He still can do that. But yes, let's just call it what it is. He struggled big time
Yeah.
the other night. And I'm not making excuses.
First play of the game.
Yeah. He struggled. Look, two things can be true at once. He made some trash, noodle arm looking throws that I remember, like, our boys at 3 Tech were hitting the DMs and was like, "Dude, like, some of these throws look like noodle arm type throws. Like, that was a duck."
Well, I mean, I watched his footwork a little bit, and it was awful.
Yeah. So again, that was terrible. Absolutely. It was also true that his head coach wasn't helping him at all, like at all, with his play calling, which was strange with Sark. And then number two, the three, I mean, the receivers couldn't get open, bro. Like there was
Yeah.
not a bunch of separation with those receivers and those Ohio State DBs. Offensive line wise for for Texas, I mean, for their first game on the road against that type of a defense, I mean, they weren't great by any means, but like I didn't necessarily walk away going, "Ooh, Texas has so much trouble along the offensive line." I think that unit will be fine. But like in the bigger games against the best defenses, I don't know. Jury's still out with that bunch. There's obviously plenty of question marks now that we can all go and talk about moving forward until Texas proves us otherwise on the offensive side of the ball. But I am not burying Arch Manning. I am not here to sit here and say that an overreact, say that he sucks and he's booty and that he's just going to be some trash quarterback going forward and Texas is in trouble after
Dude, it's
one game.
crazy. It's crazy this the amount of people out there that just want like enjoy people seeing other people fail.
They prey on it, bro. They literally live for it. It's our
It's
society that we're
crazy.
in. People just sit back and can't wait for somebody to fail. And it just
Like I get if you don't like Texas, that's fine. But like just like enjoying seeing someone else. Like if you're an Oklahoma fan, that's fine. If you're an A&M fan, okay, you can root for Arch to fail. But like people like Ohio State fans, like what do you care other than one game? Like why do you get enjoyment just because the media has hyped him up? Like the Arch didn't do anything. If anything, he tried to squash that.
yeah,
Like
he
he didn't
said he
do
hadn't
anything.
earned. He said, "I haven't earned any of this."
Yeah.
He said, "I've got to go out and earn it."
And he
Uh,
didn't earn it at all. Like everybody, and he knows that. He said, I got to play better. Like but Sark, man, that play calling, and we'll get into it with a couple other coaches who trotted first time quarterbacks out there. But I'm just so over these these coaches. I mean, there's a reason you're starting these guys. Like, and I know props to you for going out and playing, top 10 opponents, but I get it. You don't want to lose the game. You don't want to, make a mistake and rattle their confidence. But like,
you
you
know what?
pick these guys to start, like, they need to be thrown into the fire sometimes.
Yeah, well said, man. I think Sark before the game said it twice to a reporter. He said the phrase. He said, "What do you think of like what does Arch Manning need to do?" Blah blah blah. And he went, "Let it rip." And then when he was on the sidelines right before kickoff, when they did the little interview with the coaches right before they kicked the ball off, said, "Coach, what do you need to do for Arch Manning to settle in this game and get Arch Manning going in this game?" Hey, he blah 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 blah. Hey, just let it rip. He literally never tried to let him let it rip until later in the game.
Yeah,
Just I agree with
and they
you.
had to.
I agree, dude. Somebody sent this to me, and I couldn't agree more. Sark coached, play called that game like he felt like that Arch Manning was booty.
Mhm.
That's how he called the game. He called the game like he was scared to really let it rip, as if he didn't think Arch Manning could let it rip. That's how he called that game, and just strange.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think that's the case with Arch going forward. I really don't, until proven otherwise. But also until proven otherwise, Ohio State, man, they're the kings right now, bro.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We talked about Texas. We talked about a couple other we're gonna talk about a couple other teams here in a second, but this game just felt different. Um, this just felt different, man. It was the Alabama Florida State game. Obviously, Florida State picks up the 31-17 victory in pretty dominant fashion.
Mhm.
Um, I posed the question, obviously, in the intro of like, is any program out there like actually feared now? Like, you used to play Alabama, and you used to fear them. Like
You're down
they
7-0 before you got off the bus.
exactly, and everyone used to. Everyone used to play them. No matter, I mean, it could have been LSU 1 versus 2, could have been Georgia. It doesn't matter. Like you were like playing Alabama, you were playing that crimson helmet. You had a little bit of fear in you, and I don't know what to say, man. Like they're just another program now. Like
Uh-huh,
that aura that they had, unfortunately, long gone. Like
uh-huh.
I would say they are the last team like that it has been feared. Like I don't wouldn't say there's a program right now that is a dominant force in college football. And a lot of people talking online, like they don't like you do. They don't remember Alabama before Nick Saban. Like
Mhm.
a lot of these kids out there who are like 18, they've seen nothing but 6 championships. Like they don't remember what Alabama was like for Nick Saban. So I know you do, but like that game yesterday, and I'll let you, obviously give the majority of the thoughts here. But to me, man, like again, we saw some clips online and everything, and again, it's pathetic effort on their behalf. But like Mac and Cube dove into it a little bit more this morning on Monday morning. And Cube was, kind of talking a little bit more about, guards getting to the second level and safeties coming down on running backs. And if you want to go listen to that on Spotify and Apple, it's a really good listen of him breaking it down. But the big thing to me is they are not a program that can play from behind right now at all. And I mean, gosh, how many times over the years did Alabama fall behind and we're like, all right, let's go bet Alabama, but live line them like they're going to come back, right? And we did that. Yes,
Mhm.
we did it a ton of times and made a ton of money. I remember doing it last year against Vandy when they got down. You're like, it's Vandy, they're going to come back and win. No, they did not. Oh,
Most money I
Tennessee,
lost on a bet last year was that Vandy game, live lining Bama multiple times during that game.
exactly. Tennessee couldn't do it. Oklahoma definitely couldn't do it. Michigan couldn't do it. And now you're talking about falling behind in a hole to Florida State. Alabama, Kalen DeBoer is 9-5 in his tenure at Alabama. He's lost to 4 unranked teams. In his last 10 games, they are 5-5. That is definitely not going to fly down in Tuscaloosa. And if anybody out there wants to blame this game on Ty Simpson, save your breath. I know he was not great, but he was not awful.
He was fine.
And he was absolutely fine. I'm not sure he's going to provide like a deep downfield threat that they need in some of these big games against some of these big opponents, but let's also talk about Florida State a little bit. I know we can talk about winners, but let's talk about Florida State a little bit where we predicted them to go 8-4. They may be a little better than 8-4. We don't know how good they're going to be. We don't know how bad Alabama's going to be. Alabama could be 11-1. They could lose this game and win the rest. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's just it was shocking to see.
It was, man. I'm going to do what you told me to do, which is start with the winners first. I know people listening probably are like, no, 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 no. We want the goods, bro. Uh, I told everybody for months. I went on I went on our boys at 3 Tech. I went on Walk On Red Shirts on both of those shows. Said it on there to them. They were shocked when I said it. Said it on here multiple times. Said it last week that I thought Florida State would give Alabama all they want, and I was nervous about it. But I did say that I did not think they would win the game. I thought Alabama would win the game. But the reasons I gave were because, and you texted me when you started doing your like prep for last week's episode to talk about that game and break down that game. You were like, dude, I'm looking at this pick six previews, and you're right. The starting 22 for Florida State, loaded with talent,
Yeah.
loaded with talent on both sides of the ball. They had a ton of proven power four production that they brought in through the transfer portal on both sides of the ball. 2 years ago, when they went into the season and went 2-10 last year, the guys that they brought in were a bunch of rejects from Alabama and were a bunch of rejects from other P4 schools that weren't really playing at those programs. They were just highly rated recruits that hadn't played yet at those programs, and then they flopped. These guys that played in this game that are transfers actually played and were proven like a squirrel right from Tennessee, like a Deuce Robinson from USC. Some of those offensive linemen that you saw, Castellanos, like had moments at Boston College before he got benched. Our boy Max Brown was spot on, by the way. He said just as much as Castellanos is a great fit in Gus Malzahn's offense, he was a terrible fit in Bill O'Brien's type of offense. Like he's made for this Gus Malzahn offense with his dual threat ability. And you saw that this past
Mhm.
weekend. So again, Florida State's starting 22 they're really good. And they proved it Saturday. The most impressive.
Castellanos. We got to talk about
Yeah,
Castellanos.
Castellanos backed up all of his trash talk and all of that, but,
Yeah,
like,
dude.
he showed, man, that when you are a quick dual threat a la Nick Marshall, quarterback that if you can handle the ball, like, I know it sounds like it's talking about basketball. What I mean by that is the ball handling of all of the fakes and the
Mhm.
misdirections and stuff that you're doing in the backfield as a quarterback in the Gus Malzahn offense, all of the eye candy, as they call it, that you're giving the defense, Castellanos, bro, was a magician in the backfield doing that, like faking the handoff here, faking the handoff there. Like sometimes the camera didn't even know where the ball was, and Alabama's defense for damn sure didn't know where the ball was. And then how quick he is, bro.
Yeah.
Like he's fast.
On a wet field.
Yes. Again, Max Brown was spot on. I thought he was crazy when he said that he was quicker than Nick Marshall. He's not faster than Nick Marshall. He is quicker than Nick
Mhm.
Marshall. Like he can get he can change direction and get 5 yards before you know what happened on you. And dude, it was nuts what he was doing. And old Malzahn, bro, all off season to just do exactly what old Gus Bus has done in his career, just empty the bag against Alabama, and the misdirections and the eye candy and all of that just had Alabama guessing all game long. And what's wild is man, they did a lot of the same stuff like McElroy and Kubelik talked about it this morning. They did a lot of the same stuff that Jackson Arnold and Oklahoma game plan against them with that they stole from Diego Pavia and Vandy. And Malzahn did a little bit of that stuff too and put his own little
Yeah.
spin on it with a
Yeah.
faster, quicker quarterback. But now to this part. Florida State, Alabama showed up. Like I saw somebody put this, Alabama showed up for a football game and Florida State showed up for a fight. Florida State took all of the intensity and the physicality was wearing garnet and gold in that game. Like when you watch that game, bro, like my dad was talking about this, like Florida State's defense looked like that they were out for blood, like most of that game. That offensive line, when it showed them on the screen, the look in their eye was different, bro. Like they looked like, again, that they wanted to, like you said, nobody's scared of Alabama anymore. They looked like that they were the team that was there to inflict all of the pain, all of the hard hitting. Like, let's turn this into a street fight. And Alabama just laid down and acted like they liked it. That's really the difference in the game. And on the Alabama side, once again, they looked poorly coached, unprepared, undisciplined, having issues of lack of effort that is all over the internet right now. You can look at it all over the internet, all over social media, multiple
Speaking
plays.
speaking of undisciplined, did you see the stat that DeBoer
Yeah.
has yet to coach a game at Alabama where his team has had less penalties than the opponent?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
It's nuts, man. Again, at this point, it's ridiculous and it's embarrassing. And at this point, I know we try to say that like last year has nothing to do with this year. We're going to talk a little bit about that here, a little bit about Clemson too. When the narrative becomes that you can't win on the road, like last year, that was a thing, and you carried over in the first game of the year, where literally all of the issues that Alabama had last year on the road, the talk about competitive anxiety, where they get down and start get behind, and then they just lay down and they play afraid to make a mistake, and they're not hustling, blah blah blah, a lot of that stuff, not playing physical. That all reared its ugly head again on the first game of the year of a new season. And Alabama now is 1-4, their last 5 games away from Tuscaloosa. Their only win was the LSU game in Baton Rouge where they showed up and looked like world beaters. They lost at Vandy. They lost at Oklahoma. They lost against Michigan in the bowl game, and they lost at Florida State. And it just, I got to be honest with you. Like a guy asked me today, he said, where do you think Alabama goes from here? And I think the answer to that question is who the hell knows? You can guess one way or the other, and you may be right. It could go 50-50. But I really think the correct answer is nobody truly knows at this point. Is the Alabama truly dead? Is Kalen DeBoer in trouble in Tuscaloosa? That is one answer. And the other answer is they could go on a run right now. Now, the positive spin I'm going to give to this, if there is any positive whatsoever, and I know anybody listening to this is going to say, well, yeah, Nick Saban was the coach then. I don't care. Just think back, okay? Just be with me here. Think back to when Alabama started the season 2 years ago, 1-1. They got beat by Texas at home and honestly got punked. Texas drilled them in the fourth quarter in that game. Jalen Milroe, after that game, everybody was talking about he needed to be benched. He was sucked. He was trash. Alabama started friggin' Tyler Buckner that next game at South Florida. And that was supposedly the low of the Nick Saban era. They went into South Florida and looked awful. Vegas, like odds makers, ESPN, FPI, the worst thing in the world, rankings, everybody else, after that South Florida game, buried them. I even came on here and said, I don't know, man. I don't know how they're going to
Mhm.
turn this around. And they won every single game after that. Nobody thought they would do that. Now, again, yes, Nick Saban was their coach. Kalen DeBoer is their coach now.
Just such a massive caveat.
It is. It really is. So
And
I'll
I'm a
give
Kalen DeBoer guy.
yes, you are. I'm gonna give you my true thoughts on this. For the first time since I can remember, Tyler, I have very serious doubts, and and it's fair. I am very much so doubting Kalen DeBoer and this staff and this football team and this program, all of it, every bit of it, until proven otherwise. I have serious doubts. I'm not going to sit here like I did 2 years ago and say, I think this team can go on a run. Because, man, I got to be honest, I'm doubtful that they can. Until proven otherwise, I am. I don't have anything to go off of other than what I've been shown. That, whatever you said, 5-5 the last 10 games. I think they're 4-5 versus Power Four opponents.
I mean, 1-3 in their last 4 games.
Yeah. What I'm not going to do is give the dumbass hot takes and be like, fire Kalen DeBoer, pay that $70 million buyout. Let's run a coup and see if we can find some like
Yeah.
secretary that we can make up stories about with him, like we did, like Auburn did with Brian Harson. Like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not going to say that at all. Cause like, I still believe the dude can coach. I'm just not sure, man, that at this point I have doubts in this program. I have doubts in Kalen DeBoer. Hell, I've been sitting here talking about Ryan Grubbs, the savior of Alabama, and I have doubts in him now after the way he called that game against Florida State. So at this point, till proven otherwise, hashtag doubtful.
Yeah, I mean, I think DeBoer can coach, but obviously it remains to be seen whether or not he can coach at Alabama.
Right? Can
Like,
he
and
get
we
the effort that's needed and the can he
but
get that team?
just some of the rumors flying around though,
Oh yeah,
Tuscaloosa, like, preparation and guys just, having a laissez-faire attitude and just
ordering late night food in the hotel the night before the
yeah, I mean, they're
game.
just rumors. Like, I don't know if they're actual facts or whatever. It's hard for me to believe that that's true, but
Boosters could already be starting that kind of stuff, trying to go ahead and set it up and get him fired. Seriously, like
yeah,
stuff like that could already be happening.
yeah. So the buyout's that large. Like, we're not even going to talk about that, but with that large and with the revenue sharing and caps and all that, like that's an enormous amount for even a school like Alabama to pay. So,
Let me put you on the spot real quick. Come on, you got don't duck it. Give me the answer. Do you think Alabama can still go 10-2? Do you think Alabama can still go 10-2 this year and make the playoff? If I gave you plus 130 odds, would you put $100 bet on it? They would make the playoffs at 10-2,
no,
or would you? Okay,
no. I mean, now that we've seen them, and we got it, we have to real
Mhm.
quick touch on again how many years in a row have we heard about this stuff in the preseason?
God, dude. Yeah, I'll say it.
I mean,
I'll say
that's what
it.
we're going off of.
Yeah, I'll say it. Like all of my friends feel like this way as well. A ton of Alabama fans feel this way now. Even some media members that are national, because we all get our news from the people that we all trust that get paid a lot of money to cover Alabama at a high level. They're just a bunch of freaking roll tide glazers, bro. At this point, that's all they are. And some people can say I am too, whatever, that's fine. But we are all getting our information from the people that see practices and see all the stuff. And like, we even will give credit to those people. We're not one of those that sit here and try to act like we watched practice yesterday, like some of these other shows will. And we'll say, like, yeah, so and so said that they were at practice the other day and that so and so was doing this and they were blocking like this. And man, that offensive line, man, whoo, Jordan's murder ball's back and stuff like no. Like the offensive line, trash again. And again, they could get better. They could be better. But outside of Parker Brailsford, that offensive line was booty again.
Yeah.
And
I'll tell you one person they can't blame this loss on is Jalen Milroe.
they can't. And honestly, man, last thing on this, I agree with Greg McElroy 1,000%. If you were sitting around saying that this game was Ty Simpson's fault and
Yeah.
trying to pin this game on Ty Simpson, I'm going to use the phrase that I hate so much, and I know you do too. McElroy said it. If you think that this was Ty Simpson's fault, you don't know ball.
Yeah.
Move on, brother.
Yeah, man. It was something. My dad wanted me to remind you of something when Kalen DeBoer got hired. He told you, as a lifelong Indiana basketball fan, he told you these words. He said it's very, very tough to replace a legend. And DeBoer is bearing that out because he went through it with Bobby Knight. My dad did. So I mean, he's bearing that out, man. It is tough. It's tough to replace a legend. These games, man, that we're going to talk about, and we've already talked about prime examples, and we obviously we do it. We do the preseason rankings, for engagement and talk to the fans and everything. But prime example why preseason rankings are just, especially today's day and age.
Yep.
I mean, they are worthless at this point.
Yeah.
And
Transfer portal era.
it's all those media guys, all the local media guys, like pumping these teams up. Maybe they're doing that to get them noticed by the AP, and they're getting them ranked. I don't know, but let's move on. I'm going to let you talk about this one first. Notre Dame, Miami, since I talked about the Tide first. Notre Dame,
Yeah.
Miami took place last night on Sunday night. Great game down in Hard Rock Stadium. 27-24 was the final. Miami took it with a field goal with about a minute to go.
First off, Miami's line of scrimmage play was very impressive, man.
Yeah.
It's the reason why I actually think this Miami team is a true player in to now obviously be a college football playoff threat. But I'll say his name again. Greg McElroy said a couple weeks ago he thought Miami was actually a national championship like type contender. I thought that was nuts. I thought that they were an ACC championship contender and a contender to make the college football playoff. But what I watched last night, bro, I don't disagree. They again in an age now where there's no team that is just so much more dominant head and shoulders above everybody else. If Miami can continue to improve, like I feel like Carson Beck and those young receivers, and then you got the CJ Daniels, who's obviously played a lot of college football. Marion, who came in from BYU's played a lot of college football. Malachi Tony, that freshman, JoJo Trader, redshirt freshman. Younger guys like that, dude, they're just going to get better as a group, as a team together, playing football together. If that offensive line and that defensive line play like that, they can play with anybody. And it's not only because of the way that they play, bro, it's who they played against. Like, I've got nothing but just, and I'm not just saying this because you're a Notre Dame fan. And again, if it's your first time listening, we don't hide our fandom on here, guys. Like, obviously, like, if you listen, you think that we're biased or something, that's fine. You can find another show to listen to. Like, we really try to cover this from the most non biased, college football loving perspective. And that Notre Dame, people can say what they want about Notre Dame. If you like them, you don't like them, you think they should join a whatever. What you can't say is that team is tough at the line of scrimmage, and their D line and O line are both nasty. And Miami was delivering the blow in that game. Like they toe to toe, and honestly were better at the line of scrimmage last night and most of the game. Later in the game, Notre Dame started getting things going a little bit more, started putting pressure on them more on that D line, started mixing some things up with some blitzes. Honestly, I think it was a little too late on some of that. But very impressed with that. Extremely impressed with how good Notre Dame secondary is. Every person in the world talked about how Notre Dame might have the best secondary in the country. I still think they might have that. But still, dude, Miami's receivers were, especially Malachi Tony, obviously, was really good against that Notre Dame secondary. Carson Beck, again, I'm the only one standing on this hill that was willing to die on it. He played really well, man. He played really well.
Played very, very. I mean, every time he dropped back to pass, in my head, I'm thinking, this is a completion. Like, that's how dialed in and how in rhythm he was with those guys, and the way that Dawson was scheming some of those guys open.
He's
on
so
some of
good,
those routes. Yeah, I mean,
can you believe that whoever it was in our YouTube comments the other day got on there and tried to say Shannon Dawson sucks?
yeah,
Bro,
probably trying to reverse jinx.
he's been so good everywhere he's been, but dude, he's in his bag now there at Miami, man. He's comfortable. Like honestly though, it's I'm not trying to say it's easy to call plays, but when you're a really good play caller and you got an offensive line that can protect like that and that can just bully people running the football with backs like that, and then you got a veteran savvy, ball knowing QB like that. That's fun to call plays for, man. I could imagine. But yeah, Beck was fantastic, bro. And uh, if anything you've learned on this podcast for anybody, like we try to teach some things sometimes on here. The number one thing I think that I've tried to relay ever since we started this podcast is how important new coordinators are and good coordinators, what they can do for you as a team. And you texted me, I think sometime, maybe it was like, I can't remember when it was over the weekend. You said, one thing we learned this weekend, really good coordinators and really good coordinator hires are a huge deal
Yeah.
in college football. And I said, thank you, man, because you know I love talking coordinators.
Yeah.
Corey Heatherman, bro. That defense, just unbelievable what they looked like last year compared to last night. Amazing. Just simplifying things, letting those athletes for Miami go be athletes. Those edge rushers for Miami were so good. Messidor and Bain were so good. Impressed with their secondary because that was a huge, huge weakness for them last year. They held their own and were
Secondary
fine.
secondary didn't have to do anything all night.
We're going
We'll
to
get
say
to
I'm
that
gonna get
later.
we're gonna get to that in a second. Yeah. I don't think that they were stressed at all. Can't believe they weren't. But overall, man, again, they played well. Were they elite or the best defense ever? No. But again, we've talked about this with LSU. We've talked about this with USC, and obviously we can do this with Miami because of how good that offense obviously is with Shannon Dawson and that group. You don't have to go shut people out there. Miami just needs to be able to be just solid on
Mhm.
defense. Just get a few stops.
Yeah.
You can even bend and don't break. If teams go up and down the field, just don't let them get in the end zone. Make them kick field goals because
Yep.
Miami's going to score points.
Yep.
But just overall, very impressed with them, man. And on the Notre Dame side of it, uh, as much as the flowers that I give to Mike Denbrock, I was really caught off guard and shocked at his. That's the first time, man, I really watched a game with him calling plays that I just walked away like, that was awful. I mean, that was just a terrible. It was just like inconsistent. Didn't
It
really
was
have any rhyme or
there was no
reason. I felt
plan.
like, yeah,
There was no plan. Like,
no,
you coulda had a plan of, like, we're gonna run the rock with Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price.
Mhm. Which we should
Or
have done.
if we're not gonna do that, the battle was between CJ Carr and Kenny Minchey. And you said we chose CJ Carr because of his ability to get the ball downfield.
Yes,
And then you do the same thing that Sark did with Arch in the first half. And you're not going to run Love and Price. Okay, that's fine. But you're still just going to throw 15 screen passes in the first half or whatever the number was. Like I know there was weather and stuff and it was his first start, but like obviously he showed late in that first half even, hey, I can throw the ball downfield. I can make some plays, especially in the second half, throwing balls up to Malachi Fields and everything. It was through three quarters, Malachi Fields, Will Pauling, and Jaden Greathouse combined for 2 catches. And Pauling and Greathouse had 0 catches. They had no catches the entire game against a rebuilt Miami secondary.
yeah. I
Um,
think that was. I agree with you. I think that had more to do with Notre Dame's game plan than it did with Miami's DBs. Miami's D line nasty. Miami's defense played well. I'm not taking anything away from them, but to not challenge them down the field was strange. Like they threw, I think, one ball downfield, and Fields went up and got it on that one, like,
yeah,
kind of deep ball. Like, he went up and got it. That's what
yeah,
you brought him in for. Like you
yeah,
said, that's what you started CJ Carr for. Just strange they didn't get Jeremiah Love the ball more. I don't understand that. That one drive that they were running the rock with Jadarian Price,
yeah.
like,
The one drive they went run heavy in the first half, they scored a touchdown.
exactly. And, dude, the tall sweep on the goal line or the 3rd and 1 tall sweeps, 4th and 1 tall sweeps are some of the plays that I hate more than anything in college football. I've got one I've added to, and I watched Notre Dame run it 2 or 3 times and never worked. I used to watch Lane Kiffin do this at Alabama, and he was so good as an offensive coordinator, but there were 4 or 5 times during the game he would run this one play, and dude, seriously, it never worked. I don't think it ever worked, and it was either the biggest or second biggest play of the game for Notre Dame. That goofy play where there's 4 bodies out on the perimeter, 2 defenders and 2 wide receivers. You snap the ball and immediately turn and just throw a quick just wide receiver screen, whatever you want to call it, out to the far sideline where there's about this much space between the receiver and the sideline to begin with to be able to make a move at all. But the problem is, dude, there's four bodies right there. There's so much traffic. There's so much chaos going on right there. My point is, there's too much bad shit that can happen as opposed to good shit that can happen. And it
Dude,
happened. It
they
happened.
had 2 turnovers.
Exactly.
Fields caught the first one, fumbled, and then the second one was a triple deflection
Yep.
off the foot,
Yeah.
interception.
Again, all the bodies that are out there. I was going to say there's so many hands that can get the hand on the ball. There's so many limbs that
Yeah.
can get to the football. And
Yeah.
like you said, 2 turnovers. And obviously the CJ Daniels play at the end of the first half. Like if he doesn't go up and one hand grab that, that's a pick by Don Schuler, and that game's probably different. That were the 2 biggest plays of the game, without question.
Yeah, man, I mean, I'm not leaving this game as a dejected fan or anything like that. I mean, it's not like an Alabama dire situation to me. You went on the road, you played a top 10 team, you were 2.5 point favorites, you lost the turnover battle on the road 2-0. Your play calling was some of the worst I've seen. You didn't get the best running back in the country going at all. Your lines were struggling. Anthony Knapp went out with an injury late in the game. Wagner got burnt on those last games. I mean, last drive, like those guys that were not doing nothing but teeing off because they knew it was a passing situation. But um, you know, you lost the game by a field goal with 1 minute left.
Were
Like
you
Notre
were,
Dame did.
were you
Well, go ahead.
surprised? Were you surprised to see Miami had that much success at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball like that for the majority of the game?
I mean, we knew their offensive line was really solid. We
Yeah,
knew Notre Dame's defensive line solid too, but we thought that would be a pretty even matchup. They did obviously Miami got a little bit more push. When Notre Dame actually ran the ball, they ran it well.
I agree.
And honestly, like I didn't really expect CJ Carr to. I mean, the 23 to 30 yards he had on the ground were welcome. Like I don't know if he's going to survive some of those hits like Riley Leonard did.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were running him not as quite as much as Leonard, but they ran him like on some of those draws, like he was back there, like he had Riley Leonard legs.
I was impressed with him, bro. Like for that to be
Yeah,
his first start in that tight of a game, in that atmosphere, highly contested game like that with weather. I thought he played really well, bro. Like
I
there's
mean, he
no way.
probably played better than Arch.
Yeah, yeah, way better. Like
Yeah,
he played honestly, like again, there were multiple people that were like, I had no idea he was a redshirt freshman.
mhm,
Like people thought he was older than that
yeah.
because of the way he played.
I mean,
And
and he's still like some of the pocket presence, like that play he made on the touchdown pass, which I believe he might have like no looked. You can kind of see him like looking that way, but that play, his pocket presence, like he could have stayed in the pocket a little more, or
yeah,
like went up. He just kind of did what a freshman
yeah,
does and
yeah, young
scrambled out.
quarterback type stuff.
Yeah, and he was, trying to get rid of the ball and intentional groundings and all that. Like he was getting pressured though, but for the most part, I think he's got a high ceiling there at Notre Dame. I think if they actually do figure out what their offense identity is and figure out what they want to do on offense, whether they want to be what Notre Dame is and has been for years and run the ball, that's fine. Or if you say, okay, we got CJ Carr now and let's actually use him. I just don't know. They seem to be an offense and identity crisis through one game right now, which is crazy for the amount of weapons and quarterback they have.
Is Miami a legit ACC championship contender?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Is
Oh yeah. I mean, if they
Miami
could duplicate that performance more often than not, then heck yeah.
okay? Again, this has nothing to do with week one overreactions. We're just going to base this off of week one, what we've seen with our eyeballs so far. Is Miami one of I personally, we're not gonna get into the teams right now for the sake of time. I had in my mind 9 to 10 teams that I thought were actual national championship, true national championship contenders going into the season. I'm not talking about playoff contenders or
Yeah.
Final Four. Do you think Miami right now, would you add them to that mix as a team that can compete for a national championship this year?
I need to see more. I need to see consistency. I need to see it duplicated.
Mhm.
I still do not trust Mario Cristobal whatsoever.
Yeah, I know
Some of
Miami.
his
I know Miami fans rag us for that, bro. I agree. That's my hesitation. I think Miami's team, I think Shannon Dawson, and I think that Corey Heatherman, uh, I need to see that secondary a little more,
Yeah,
obviously.
be
Uh,
tested.
I think Miami does have the team and the coordinators to compete at the national championship level. I just, man, I don't know. Not to get off in the weeds here, but I thought Mario going super conservative there
Yeah,
at the end of the game, like he's done many times in the past, uh, that almost cost him that game, bro.
yeah,
He like, 'cause I
yeah.
don't care what anybody says.
Like he always does.
Shannon Dawson does not want to do that.
No.
That offensive coordinator doesn't want to just line up and just run up the middle 3 times and punt, okay? That that was playing not to lose instead of playing to go win the game, and it almost cost them the game.
Yeah.
And so, again, I think Mario Cristobal's done a really good job at Miami, I do, but I'm just I'm not a believer in him to win a national championship at the moment till I see otherwise.
Yep. Um, yeah, very impressed by Carson Beck, impressed with CJ Carr. Miami, obviously, ceiling is higher now. Notre Dame, not worried. I mean, obviously, big game coming up in 2 weeks. They get a bye now, but the A&M game becomes that much more important for them because they go down 0-2. Even if they win out and go 10-2 without a conference championship, like
It's
they're gonna
tough.
be they're gonna be on the cusp.
Yep,
So
I agree.
yeah, for time's sake, let's get to LSU Clemson. Posed a question earlier. Does the SEC run through Baton Rouge? And after week one, I mean, definitely looks to be that way.
Yep,
Um,
I agree.
one thing I've got to say about so let's talk about LSU. Um, again, they're going up against it was a Clemson or a Ohio State Texas type game. They're going up against a really good defense. So that offense for you to say like Nussmeier and those guys like 17 points, like whatever, like they had 7 points taken off the board by officials. That was easily a touchdown catch. And then right after that, they missed a field goal. Um,
I think they had a deep red zone, like a deep red zone deal too, where they had some shitty play calling, just like
and that's what I'm saying. That was the point I'm getting to. And I kind of want to touch on it with Sark in Texas. I told you this. I'm all for going for it on fourth down, right? But at some point, this whole thing has gotten out of control, in
Yep,
my opinion. Like
yep.
at some point, when you are in a defensive battle in a game with Ohio State and Texas or LSU Clemson, right? 21 and 27 points for the totals. You got to take the points. When your Blake Baker defense is playing that well on the road and shutting down Klubnik and that offense, you have to take the points. And especially with Texas, they can't score for crap in the red zone. Just kick the field goal, man. You kick 2 field goals in that game instead of going 0 for 2 in the red zone, and it's 14-13 at the end of the game. And you just have to go down and kick a game-winning field goal instead of trying to tie it with a touchdown. Like at some
Because they're
point, like,
allergic to point. They're allergic to points.
and I mean, I get it. Like the popular thing and the it thing is like, let's go for it on fourth down. Anytime like analytics say go for it on fourth down, but like, dude, just get the 3 points.
I don't
But
think analytics account for feel of the game, like
I know.
moments of the game. Like I mean, maybe they do. Maybe I'm an idiot, but I don't think they do, man.
It's just gotten too far in the weeds, in my opinion. And in other news, Brian Kelly, props to him. He got the monkey off his back. He won week one. It was a solid win for Nussmeier. All the receivers look great. Caden Durham looked really good.
Dude,
Again, that freaking defense, dude. Like you called it. And if you want to go back and look at our episode, if you want to go back and look at our clips, Lance called it. He said LSU's defense has a chance to be the most improved unit in the entire country. And again, we talk about how important coordinators are. Blake Baker came over from Missouri 2 years ago, and this is his second season at LSU. He improved last year. You've got Whit Weeks out there. You've got his brother West. You've got Harold Perkins. They actually know what he's doing now. They actually know what they're doing with him.
dude,
They were flying all over the place.
those dudes they brought in the secondary are dogs, bro.
Yeah, I mean they're
Dogs.
good.
Like
They're a
I
good
knew that
team, and
one of them was. I knew
they're
that one
national
of them.
championship contender.
Agreed, bro. I knew that one of them was for sure because, like, I watched a lot of Virginia Tech games, and Delaney was a dog at Virginia Tech. And I loved hearing that they talked about the number one player they wanted in the transfer portal on either side of the ball was him because they needed a shutdown corner. And he looked the part, bro, the other night. He was so good.
Yeah,
But that whole group that they brought into the secondary, Patrick Payton on the edge, and they already had some solid pieces. because they didn't have any talent overall when Blake Baker first got there. They played some younger guys last year along that defensive front. Those guys are still there, and a couple of them got injured last year. They're back from injury. So you add all the pieces that they brought into the portal. Dude, real quick, saw a lot of people talking about this. The Bryce Underwood not going to LSU ended up being a blessing in disguise for them, honestly.
Mhm.
Like this year, at least. Maybe
Yeah,
not in
for at
the
least 1 year.
Yeah, maybe not in the future, but for this year, because they got to take all that NIL money and just go get Halsey from Houston and all those other guys they brought in on that defense. And yeah, dude, they definitely looked the part. Attacking, physical, fast, just everything that Alabama wasn't in their game against Florida State. But yeah, dude, they looked fantastic.
Yeah.
And offensively, Nuss looked a lot more like just in control, not making the
Yeah.
like crap the bed type plays and stuff. Like he was really just in control of that. Like honestly, just felt like he was more of the game manager type, but he could still make the big time throws that a game manager can't. Uh, I think he played like he knows that he's got a defense now. He played
Yeah.
like he knows that he doesn't have to go out. Like I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I kept saying all off season, bro, that I think that Nussmeier and this LSU offense, they are going to be able to play more complimentary football now, all the way around because of the running game, because of that defense. Nussmeier's not going to feel like he has to win the game with every throw. And that looked like that was the case. It's game one. There's a lot of football left to be played, but they looked the part without a doubt. Loved what I saw from that bunch. And I agree. Through week one, if they're going to play defense like that, if LSU is going to have the best defense they've had since the Les Miles era with what they've got on that offensive side of the ball, yeah, they're a problem, bro. They're a problem for sure. They can play with
Yeah.
anybody in the country. They can beat anybody in the country, and their name is absolutely in that hat as a national championship contender.
Yeah.
Uh, on the flip side of it, Clemson once again plays an SEC team, and it's time to have a fair conversation, bro, about Garrett Riley and Cade Klubnik. All of the narrative against them, especially Klubnik, is that he performs like the bad narrative against him is that he performs really well against the lesser competition, and then he doesn't perform well against the better competition. Like after that game was over with, because I was honestly kind of stunned at how pedestrian the Clemson offense looked after all offseason, us included, everybody just gassing up that offense and what they were going to be the top offense in the country and all this stuff.
Which they did lose Antonio Williams.
They did,
Yeah.
but still, that they've got other guys there that are solid
Yeah.
too. And dude, bro, they looked overmatched. They did. They looked like they didn't belong against that defense. They didn't.
And the thing that we questioned all offseason, we had no questions about their passing game, even though it looks like, I mean, LSU's defense is improved, but the running game. I
Non-existent.
mean,
Dude,
yeah.
so I actually after that game, dude, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't overreacting. It's now a fair take to say that Garrett Riley and Cade Klubnik have a problem against the best competition that they play against. I'm not going to say they have a problem against the SEC, but it just so happens the best competition they played against are Georgia last year in week one, South Carolina at the end of the year last year, Texas in their playoff game, and now LSU. That's four SEC teams. Okay, I can't help what conference they play in. That's four SEC teams. That's the four best teams that they've played dating back to last year. And Cade Klubnik in those games is 59% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Clemson has run for 2.8 yards per carry combined in those 4 games. They're awful against the better competition at this point.
Mhm.
That is a fair narrative until they prove otherwise. And I was honestly stunned at how bad they looked again against a defense that I knew was going to be very improved. But they made LSU's defense. LSU's defense may prove to be just that. But they made them look like the friggin' like Baltimore Ravens or something with Ray Lewis. Like they looked awful offensively, bro. And again, they couldn't run the ball at all in that
Yeah.
game. So if we're talking about Clemson competing for national championships, they need to now, we discussed, just like everybody discussed at this point, Dabo has proven himself, obviously, in the past, winning the national championships that he's won. So I'm not saying that Dabo belongs in the same conversation as James Franklin because James Franklin's never won all the big games and stuff. But the way that we all now, like present, talk about how Penn State can't win the big ones and James Franklin can't win the big ones and Drew Aller and Penn State offensively look like trash against the best competition, that's Clemson
Yeah.
until proven otherwise.
All right, let's move on because we are talking everyone's ear off. But we're going long tonight, man. We're going long. We'll try to make these shorter in the future, but we just got so much to talk about. Real quick, Thursday night, Boise, first game of the year, goes on the road down to Tampa, gets boat raced after going up 7-3, I think, and USF runs away with it 34-7.
Only thing needs to be
Boise,
said about this, Tyler, is upset alert. Pick of the week. The first one of the year
yep,
was South Florida +6, and they win straight up.
easy money.
Easy money. That's all I got. That's all I got to say.
And then after that, Nebraska and Cincinnati locked up in Arrowhead Stadium with Travis and Taylor and Patrick Mahomes. They were all there. They were all watching. Taylor or Travis was watching his Bearcats, and Nebraska finally won a close game.
Thank you.
So their fans have got to feel so relieved. Obviously, it would have been much better had they won by, a couple of touchdowns, but that the Cincinnati defense, the one thing I took away from that is they were keeping everything in front of them, which is why you look at this box score. If you're just looking at the box score there, you're like, oh my gosh, like Dylan Raiola is 33 for 42 for like 200 yards or something. It's like Holgerson, they was just drop down after drop down, and it worked for them. They got the win. Like, it just is what it is.
This may sound dumb. I actually think it was better for them to win a close game as opposed to
Yeah.
looking super impressive and winning that going away.
Yeah.
I went back and looked at it. They've lost 31 possession games since 2019. That Nebraska losing one possession games has become obviously
Yeah.
a funny narrative for opposing people to
Meme.
make fun of Nebraska, like a meme.
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely. Matt Rule talks about it constantly. They just find ways to lose. They got to figure out to find ways to win. First game of the year, dude, you could have heard a pin drop. Nebraska was on defense into the fourth quarter. Cincinnati's driving, trying to go win the game.
Mhm.
And that was a 99% Nebraska like stadium. And dude, you could have heard a pin drop. Nebraska was on defense, not on offense, because that fan base was sitting there just on pins and needles, just anxious as could be. And Nebraska went and made the play to win the game. I
Yeah.
think that's a bigger deal than what people were giving it credit for. And interested to see where they go forward from here, if that could be something now that they start winning those closer games, then that over 7.5 win total that you boys holding here could turn out to be good for the Huskers.
Friday night, Auburn looked very impressive. Jackson Arnold looked very impressive. Looked like he fit right in to Hugh Freeze's offense. They went down to Waco. They won a battle on the Brazos. And Baylor, Roberts did his thing, but it's like they couldn't keep up in that game.
Baylor's defense looked awful again.
Yeah, same thing.
That's the thing. They just didn't look good, bro. And I'm just not sure I don't know. Again, maybe it can be fixed. I don't know. But that seems to be, again, a narrative that carried over from last year into this year. Baylor's offense looked good to me. They're still solid.
Yeah, they need to have like a resurgence. Like they need to keep the offense going, and then about 6 games in, they need to have like a defensive turnaround like they had last year with the whole team.
Yeah, I agree. But this was more about talked about how I thought Auburn's offensive line would end up being a problem in this game for Baylor, and they were. Auburn ran the football well. There were some of my Auburn buddies were kind of like after the game were a little like, man, can we throw the ball though? Like, we're not going to be able to just line up and run up the middle with our quarterback
Yeah,
against some
we
of these
make a
other
throw.
teams that we're going to play. I just think that Auburn did, and Jackson Arnold said it after the game. He was like, if I need to run 40 times for us to win the football game, that's what I'm going to do. Like, I just think that obviously Auburn saw that Baylor couldn't stop it. So they just, again, Mariano Rivera threw one pitch in his career because nobody could hit it.
Mhm.
Baylor couldn't stop Jackson Arnold from running the football, and they couldn't stop Auburn from running the football. So why put the ball up in the air and take a chance on throwing picks or anything like that if what's working's working? I'm
Yeah.
actually impressed that Hugh Freeze stuck with the run game like he did for as long as he did. With all those great receivers and all of these great weapons and toys to play with out there on the perimeter,
Mhm.
it'd be easy. It'd be real easy to want to do that, especially as an offensive minded coach. Nah, man, just pound the rock. If that's what's working, do it. But I will admit, I don't know yet if Jackson Arnold can consistently make throws against better defenses. But
Yeah.
at this point, Auburn looked really good, bro. Week 1, it's a win on the road, a really good win on the road, and things that have been weaknesses in the past, offensive line, looked fantastic, and your quarterback played really, really well and didn't make a bunch of mistakes. And obviously, there's going to be a lot of defenses now. They're going to be sitting around having to prepare for a true dual threat quarterback from Auburn, which is going to be tough to prepare for, man.
Same time Friday night, Georgia Tech beats Colorado 27-20. Haynes King, nearly
Warrior.
300 total yards. Georgia Tech lost the turnover battle 3-0 and still won a game by 7 and covered on the road.
Yee.
Um, so
Did you have them?
obviously a little bit to clean up for the Jackets, but hey, they got the job done on the road.
Did you have cash on GT?
Yeah.
Me too. Good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Haynes King's a warrior, bro. We talked about that all off season. Everybody already knows that. But even more so, bro. What just a I, that's my only worry for them, man. You texted me during the game about it. Like they're gonna get him killed, dude.
Yeah.
Like he got hit. So,
He
not
didn't
on just
survive he didn't survive the season last year.
he didn't, dude. And I hope he does, man, because he's obviously like fun to watch and he's easy to pull for because of the way he plays. Uh, I mean, every coach would want a guy like that on your team. Uh, and dude, I love Brent Key. Some of the quotes he had after the game, just fantastic. Because obviously Colorado does, and was apparently running their mouth before the game about stuff. They asked Brent Key. They said, "What's your thought? What do you have to say about that?" And he said, "We heard it." That's all he said.
Yeah.
But yeah, good win for Georgia Tech, man. They've got a big one coming up here in a few weeks, here soon against Clemson.
Yeah. A couple of teams I want to mention on Saturday. Tennessee got the win in Atlanta against Syracuse by 19. Little, worried about their defense, surprised about their defense giving up 26 points. But I want to say Joey Aguilar, 247 yards, 3 touchdowns. Pretty clear after game 1. Tennessee upgraded at quarterback. I mean, could anybody mishandle a situation more than Nico and his family? Like, I don't mean to poop on the guy, but I mean, we're not going to hear from him the rest of the year, right?
Probably not, dude. And like, if you made a list, I used to do this back when I did some writing and stuff in the past. Uh, Biggest winners and losers from week 1, like obviously Alabama and Kalen DeBoer, and
Yeah.
would be up there high. Number 1, but Nico Imaliava would be very high on that list. To get absolutely punked and boat raced by Utah like they did. And then for Tennessee, I watched a lot of that game. I was texting you. I know you were watching it too. Like you got that awesome setup there in your basement. By the way, guys, I think Tyler, you're going to do it. Next Saturday, I want you to post on X your setup in your basement so everybody can be jealous. It's one of the best football watching setups you could possibly have. It's unreal. Uh, and so I know you were watching it too. But that was the most well-oiled machine that that I've seen Tennessee look like on offense since Hendon Hooker.
Mhm.
Joe Milton when they won 9 games, and then last year with Nico when they won 10 games, that offense Saturday looked fantastic on all levels against Syracuse. And from now on, I will never we didn't question it by any means, but like I don't even think it should even be a conversation piece in the offseason. If Tennessee loses whoever at running back, doesn't matter. As long as Josh Heupel is the coach in Knoxville, they're going to be able to run the football. And it's just next, not man up, next
Mhm.
men up at Tennessee at the running back position. They had 3 backs, dude, that they were running, and all 3 of them looked fantastic. Moving on, we were talking about Nico a minute ago. Uh, how about Kyle Whittingham and Jason Beck and Devin Dampier, Morgan
Electric.
Scally, and the Utah Utes? Hey, we don't hide our fandom here. We aren't like diehard like Utah fans. Like we have our team that we're fans of. We love us some Kyle Whittingham and some Morgan Scally and some Utes. We love them. Both of us, I think, had money. Oh, we did. Yeah, we both had
Oh,
money
yeah.
on them. I still took them, by the way, at -6. I got 'em at
Yeah,
6. You
easy.
got them early. I
Yeah.
got them at 6 and felt great about it. And it was very evident early on that was gonna be a boat race. But Utah was, in my opinion, one of the under, like, reported stories, one of the low-key stories of Saturday. They looked flawless, bro, in that game. They looked like vintage Utah
Mhm.
in that game.
Yeah.
Defense just nasty, hit you in the mouth, make you like it. And now they've got a electric quarterback in Devin Dampier. We were all excited to watch him. I gotta admit, we said he was gonna be electric. He was even more electric than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
It was very, very impressive.
Yeah, dude, he was. I was sitting there at one point,
I think they
and
got, like, Cal Poly and Wyoming next, but, like, here in a couple weeks, they got Texas Tech coming into, Salt Lake
that's gonna be
City,
such a fun
and
game, man.
yeah.
I can't wait for that one. You know our affinity with the Guns Up Nation
Oh,
too.
yeah.
So it's gonna be tough, bro. We love us some Guns Up. We love our Utes, so that's gonna be a fun game to watch. But yeah, Utah was impressive, bro. South Carolina was another one we caught yesterday. Yesterday afternoon, the Beamer Bowl against my boys, the Hokies, and uh, honestly, Virginia Tech gave them a fight most of the game and hung in there and played well. But what I took away from that game was South Carolina defensively, like they looked a little like I didn't expect South Carolina to look bad defensively, but they were solid still defensively. They were very solid. And they've got some pieces on there that can really work with and that I think they can continue to improve. That is what Beamer's teams, by the way, have done at South Carolina. They improve as the year goes on, which is a sign of a good football coach, which he is at South Carolina. So if you think back to last year when they played Old Dominion week 1, everybody
Mhm.
was hitting the panic button, was acting like, oh gosh, is South Carolina about to go 5-7? And is Beamer going to be on the hot seat? And they go on that run. But that defense was solid. Uh, that freak athlete that gets rated 99 point something on the video game of NCAA video game, Nick Harbor,
Mhm.
actually took his hands and like caught footballs
Yeah.
in a game. And not only that, dude, I don't know if there's not a bigger freak in college football. There's just not. There's not a bigger freak in college football. You're 6'5", 240 pounds and running like that, dude. And then now you're catching the ball. I think Cole
Yeah.
Kublik tweeted it out. He said, if Nick Harbor starts catching the football consistently, look out.
Mhm.
And I think he had a drop or two, but still, he made some electric big plays in that game. And of course, Lenora Sellers, bro, he just he's gonna get better as the
Yeah.
year goes on. He's gonna get better as the year goes on. That's a team to look out for, bro. Like, I think that's a team that's gonna be scary,
Yep.
going down the stretch. Another team that I watched with my own eyeballs because I have their win total over, and I talked all offseason how this team was going to be better this year, and better look out for the boys out there in Southern LA, Southern California and LA, and the USC Trojans. And I know they played the Sisters of the Poor, but Jade Mayaba looked the part, bro. I don't care if it was against air. That dude looked really good. And that receiving core, really good. And those tailbacks, really good. USC is going to be a problem in the Big Ten this year, as long as that core group stays healthy.
Yep.
The running back they brought in from New Mex and Wayman Jordan, the tailback they brought in from JUCO, really they were fantastic. And DeAnton Lynn, year 2, is the DC. Uh, Man, they're going to be fun to watch in the Big Ten this year, and they're going to make some noise. I feel good about that prediction now after watching them week 1. Anybody else you want to catch on, or do you want to go into our top 12, brother?
Yeah, let's go into our top 12 real quick.
All right, top 12. We do this every week during this time. We give out our top 12, our updated top 12 rankings. We're going to start none other than number 1, the world famous Ohio State Buckeyes. Back on top, back of the number 1 spot. We didn't put you at number 1 to start the year. That's on us. Forgive us. We are familiar with your game. And we thought the 8 starters that you were missing on defense and the coordinators that you were replacing and all of that. that we thought the Texas Longhorns were the number one team in the country going into the year, and you beat them.
Yep.
And your defense looked fantastic. And we've already talked about that game at nausea early on, so there's no reason to keep going on. But we've got the Buckeyes at number one. Number two, LSU. Like Tyler said, after 1 week, yeah, kind of. I mean, I know there's some really good teams in the SEC, but like it may looks like that the road to the SEC championship might go through Baton Rouge at this point. Do
Yeah.
you agree now after week one that that looks like that they're going to be playing significantly more complementary football and they're just more of a complete team now than they have been in honestly years?
Yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen, I guess. If we're talking, if the trends you talked about, Clemson, with the SEC against SEC competition, like hold, like maybe that's not the best offense LSU faces this year. Maybe we were all wrong in the offseason talking about Clemson's offense, and maybe they're going to play Ole Miss here in a little bit. Maybe they're going to play Florida, some of those teams, and they're going to play Alabama. Sorry, and they're going to, they're going to
Don't
play
hurt me,
some of those
bro.
other teams, and it's they did it for 1 week, so that's good. But I mean, yeah, they definitely looked the part so far. I mean, I would agree with them at number two right now.
Yeah, and here's one that some people may sit there because everybody does their rankings different. Number three, Texas. We had the Horns at number one going into last week. Texas went on the road and played the team that we now have ranked number one, the defending national champions, the team that you would say right now are the kings of college football until proven otherwise, the Ohio State Buckeyes. In a went to a 14-7 game in a very, like you said, that game could have gone either way. And if Texas would have played LIU Brooklyn or somebody like that, we'd still have them ranked number one in the country. So we didn't punish Texas and knock them down 10 spots because they actually went on the road and decided to put their freaking big boy pants on and go toe to toe against the Buckeyes on the road. I don't know which account that was that tweeted it out, but he gave and it got a ton of reactions, like good reactions. He just said, as a college football fan, I want to thank Texas and Ohio State and
Yeah,
LSU and Clemson and, Alabama, Florida State, Auburn, Baylor, like all the teams that actually went out week one and gave us a show, Notre Dame, Miami, playing really good teams week one, and which all the fans love.
and
So,
that's how it should be too. I mean, because again, with the new metrics that the committee talked about, like you should be rewarded for winning those games, which we've obviously rewarded Ohio State and LSU for winning those games. And we'll get to number five here in a little bit, but you shouldn't be like just super punished unless sorry again, unless you look like Alabama looked.
I agree.
You shouldn't be just severely punished for testing yourself week one, especially with these new quarterbacks. But
Yeah, dude, if Texas would have went to the shoe and got their cheeks clapped, sure, we
yeah,
would have dropped. But that's not what happened. Like it was a great football game. Ohio State won. They looked like the better team, yes, but still, we're not going to punish Texas too much for losing a very close game going toe to toe with the team we got number one right now.
yeah,
Number four, Penn State. I mean, they took care of business week one against Nevada. Uh, Obviously, the talk was after the game. I mean, I think the receivers caught more passes than the receivers caught all year
yeah,
last year. Pena and was it Hudson
yep.
that had a big day. So yeah, I mean, Penn State. Everybody, some people have them number one, some people number two, whatever. But Penn State's one of the best teams in the country. They didn't play anybody worth a dang week one. They don't really play anybody worth a dang until another few weeks from now.
To
So
Oregon,
to Oregon. So I mean, I don't
yeah,
know how much they're going to be moving up in our polls right now,
yeah,
but we have a ton of respect for this Penn State bunch. We have them ranked number four. Number five, the U, the
hmm
Miami Hurricanes, uh, beating
outside the top 12 into the top five.
exactly. As we like to tell people, like we don't go from like what we had last week, got to do it this week. No, we go week to week, clean slates, and look at things differently from week to week. Uh, and I mean, Miami looked really good against one of the best teams in the country, against Notre Dame. They did, and the way they did it, Carson Beck playing the way that he did, those inexperienced receivers, we thought that was a question, not a weakness. It definitely doesn't look like a weakness. It definitely doesn't look like a question anymore. Defense played solid. Both lines of scrimmage really good for Miami. We have them ranked number five. Number six, the team that we got to watch play Miami in that incredible game that we all got to see last night. Notre Dame. Same thing we said about Texas a minute ago. Notre Dame went on the road in a hostile environment, challenged themselves week one against a really good football team, went toe to toe. That game came down to the end. Miami won. We're not going to drop Notre Dame 5 or 6 spots behind teams that played nobody.
Yeah.
Okay. Things can change later on down the year, but as of right now, we still believe Notre Dame is one of the best teams in the country. We did drop them. We had them number 2 in our poll last week. We did still drop them. We have them behind the team that just beat them, but we didn't drop them a bunch of spots because, again, they actually went and challenged themselves. Number 7, the Georgia Dogs, the Georgia Bulldogs. They whipped up on old Marshall in Athens, as you know. Most people thought they would. Caught a little bit of it. Uh, Overall, man, just again, it's Georgia, bro. I mean, the weapons that they've got overall, the defensively, speed, size. Uh, it's just Marshall's really down this year. It's just hard to tell. Didn't you say something? What was it? Like you saw something about like a stat or whatever about the like you were talking about you were catching some of the game that was it Stockton was a leading rusher for Georgia or
Yeah,
something?
Stockton was the leading rusher for Georgia.
Interesting. Yeah, that was interesting. When you told me that, I caught a little bit of it. I had it on the second TV during the that Alabama debacle. Uh and I caught a little bit of it. But overall, again, the dogs, we got them at 7. They've got Alabama coming to town here in a few weeks. I guess we'll learn a little more about them that week.
Yeah.
Uh Number 8, Clemson. I struggled a little bit whether to drop them more or not. This was one of the things Tyler and I were texting about. Tyler's right. I'm one that loves to beat the chest about who'd you beat and who'd you play and all that. Uh, Clemson challenged themselves week 1 and played LSU. Clemson last year challenged themselves and played Georgia in the Georgia Dome week 1, like they did, or
They
the
lost that game by
Mercedes-Benz.
31.
They did. Big
So we
difference.
dropped them big time after that.
We did. Big difference this year. They didn't lose by 31.
Yeah.
But it is now again, like I already went into that a minute ago. Clemson has a problem against the best team, against the best competition, especially on offense. But because they didn't go out and play the deaf and the blind, they actually played a really good football team. We're not going
Mhm.
to dock them a ton. Number 9, team. I know they didn't play a great team. They put a really good FCS team in Montana
Yeah.
State, but the Quack Attack, the Oregon
Covered the
Ducks,
crap out of their spread.
they did. And I did catch a little bit of that, bro. That offense, man. Again, Will
Yeah.
Stein, uh, they they looked the part, bro. Again, I
Yeah.
know it's whatever. It's hard to tell from competition wise, but they did what you're supposed to do against a team like that. We see a lot of other teams that don't go out and do what you're supposed to do against teams of that level. And again, Montana State, I'm not trying to act like that Oregon played a really good team, but Montana State's a good FCS team.
Mhm.
And they did exactly what, if you want to see one of your elite teams go out and do to a good FCS team. Oregon looked the part offensively, for sure. And defensively, the speed, again, they've got bigger and stronger on the defensive line. They look solid. Number 10, the Gators. I've made references to LIU Brooklyn. At
Yeah.
least they didn't go out and play LIU Brooklyn. That's
Yeah.
exactly who Florida played.
Yeah.
They get South Florida this week. But again, seen some stuff online. DJ Lagway, Vernell Brown the third made maybe the catch of the year already, just in week 1. But the Gators look solid week 1. 11 Texas A&M. I did catch a decent amount of that game. That was on my second TV of the night games. UTSA did put a pretty decent fight, especially
Mhm.
offensively against A&M. But you made the point, bro. We talked about the Texas A&M wide receivers all year long. That Texas A&M offense, man, can be scary now. That with the like KC Concepcion and Mario Craver already we're making big plays
Yeah.
week 1 for the Aggies. And number 12, we've got Arizona State. We had them 12 last week, have them 12 again this week.
Who'd you have number 12?
I had the Utah Utes at number 12.
I respect it. I just, for me personally, going into that first game, I didn't think UCLA was worth anything.
I get it.
So for them to go out and win that game, obviously by 33 points, that's impressive. It was just a little bit too high of a jump for me to from where I saw Utah as maybe like a fringe top 20, top 25 team around. It's like to jump them all the way up that much by beating a team that I didn't think was really going to be that good this year. So that's why I stuck with Arizona State.
Winning it.
I know they beat Northern Arizona, but like I just stuck with
I
Arizona
just
State.
I was so impressed with Utah, bro. Maybe I'm prisoner of the moment. Maybe I'm overreacting after 1 week. But you're right. UCLA was booty for sure. But
Yeah.
Utah made them look even more booty. All right, man. Tee it up.
Yeah, let's get to everybody's favorite segment real quick. Guess the spread. Where we quiz Lance on the spreads for the upcoming week. And so you can get all your first lines here. Let's start off with the battle for the Cyhawk Trophy, Iowa at Iowa State.
To Jack Trice, right?
Jack Trice.
Iowa State minus 2.5.
Iowa State -3.
Okay.
Here's a good one. Illinois at Duke.
Illinois minus 4.5.
Darian Mensah looked real good against Elon last Thursday night. Duke got a couple extra days of rest because they played Thursday, I think, and Illinois played Friday, so one extra day of rest. It's not Illinois -4.5; it's Illinois -3.
Real, that's going to be a good game this week, dude.
A good game.
Yeah.
Baylor in a must have it situation at SMU.
Oh, that is this week. Give me the ponies minus. That's probably close to a pick 'em. -1, -2.
-3.
Okay. So that's basically if they were on a
-3.
neutral field, it would be a pick 'em. Okay.
Yeah. Everybody remembers this game from last year. Ole Miss at Kentucky.
uh, Kentucky's defense may give them trouble again, bro. Simmons' first road start. I bet Ole Miss is probably 10, 10.5.
It is Ole Miss -10.
Oh, I'm back. I'm so
w-
back.
w-
I'm just warming up, baby. Let's go. Keep them coming. Keep them coming, baby.
The last 4 matchups between those two teams have been decided by a combined 10 points.
Oh,
3, 3, 1, and 3.
surprised you didn't try to give out a best bet there on somebody.
Can't do it yet. Border War, Kansas at Mizzou.
Thank you, college football, and thank you, Mizzou and Kansas, for bringing this game back. As a guy that lives in between St. Louis and Columbia and beautiful O'Fallon, Missouri, these two teams hate each other. I've seen Kansas play a game, and I watched a good bit of Mizzou the other night as well. It's going to be a really good football game. I'll say Mizzou minus 4.5.
Mizzou -6.
Okay. Interesting.
Here is a fun one for you. Oklahoma State at Oregon.
Oh, man. Gundy.
This is where I get him. This is where I get him, folks.
Gundy going to thrive in this role, bro. I bet they've got the Ducks. Oh, Oregon minus 21.5.
This shows you what they think of Mike Gundy.
Oh, timeout. Oklahoma State's quarterback went down, didn't he?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he did. Okay, I already said it because like your reaction right there kind of tells me it's way off. Go ahead.
It's Oregon -28.5.
Whoa. The king of underdog betting, the king of betting on as an underdog is getting 28.5.
28.5.
Every contrarian out there is going to be pounding Mike Gundy in Oklahoma State.
Mhm.
Okay.
Here's another fun one. West Virginia going on the road and playing at Ohio.
Man, you throwing a Maction home game at me.
I'm going stump to Schwab today.
You've trying, bro. West Virginia minus 4.5.
You're close. West Virginia -3.
Okay. Hey,
Which,
interesting,
yeah,
bro. Look at the Look at the Cats.
You knew if I threw it in there, it had to have been like close, so.
No, I really didn't. I figured you were really trying to get me there.
Here's one we got our eye on. Okay. South Florida at Florida.
I can't wait. Okay. I really didn't look at it just for this segment, but you know I wanted to.
And after I tell you, you can throw out a
I'm
best bet
going
if you
to,
want. Yeah.
as long as it's under a certain number. Okay, I'll give out right now as long as the line is under 20. I'm about to give out a best bet. So I'm going to say Florida minus 20.
Florida minus 17.5.
My first best bet of the week is the Florida Gators. Thank you, odds makers. I know y'all build those buildings out in Vegas very tall on situations just like this, where someone thinks he's got you. I feel like I'm going to pad my wallet with this, but I think that that line is inflated due to what South Florida just did against Boise. I think it's an overreaction. My homework has told me that the Florida Gators are really freaking good. And I think Florida is going to lay the smack down on South Florida in the swamp Saturday. Is that a night game too, bro?
It is.
Okay. Yeah. Best
Yep.
bet Florida minus, okay, 17.5. Sure. 17.5.
Yeah. Revenge game. Vanderbilt at Virginia Tech.
Surely Virginia Tech's favorite at Blacksburg. You're laughing at maybe they're not. I'll just say what I think it is. Virginia Tech minus 2, 1, something like that. Like just basically almost a pick 'em.
Yeah, Virginia Tech minus 1.5.
Okay, good. I was gonna say Virginia Tech's not even favored at home in Blacksburg over. I know Vandy's not your grandmama's Vandy anymore, but that's wild, bro. That's wild to think.
Diego Pavia as an underdog.
I know,
Oh,
man.
he
I
is going.
know.
He is going to. His hair might go on fire when he hears Enter Sandman.
He might come out of the locker room while that's playing
He was
himself,
going to
by
come out with the
himself,
American flag himself.
by himself. I agree. He really might do something like that.
Interesting game down in Starkville, Arizona State at Mississippi State.
This was another one I've got my eye on. I haven't looked at it. This might be some trouble for our Fun Devils. Arizona State minus 4.5. 4.
Arizona State minus 7.
I'm about to do no. I'm about to give out another best bet. Tune in. I may have to take that, bro.
Yeah.
I may have to take. What do you think, real quick?
I don't know. I would do a little digging. Do a little digging this
That's what
week.
I'm saying. Like that honestly caught me off guard a little bit. I was like, okay, that
Yeah.
obviously my guess of that line was pretty off. So
All right. Marquee game. I gave it out last week on last week's show, but Michigan at Oklahoma.
I mean, Mateer that offense. I know it was against a bad team, but still, Mateer that offense looks solid. I'll say Oklahoma minus 4.
It is all the way up to Oklahoma minus 5.5.
Whoa.
And if you heard our show last week, and if you like Oklahoma, I got Oklahoma minus 2.5 last week.
Good call by you, bro.
If you like, I mean, again, that's not guaranteed to win. Michigan can go win the game
No, but
outright, but
but like the closing line value, whatever you call that, like that's good
yeah,
stuff. That's good,
yeah,
good call
yeah.
by you on there on that.
So early bets, that's it. That's it for me right now. Oklahoma minus 2.5. Obviously, you've got Florida minus 17.5 already. Anything else? You
No,
can pull
I
the
mean
trigger on the
I'll
pull
throw
the
it out
trigger on
there.
the
Like I'm
Bulldogs.
I'm one of those. It's not like I will waste money to get a half a point on a key number. I'll take Florida at 17, but I'm absolutely taking Florida minus 17. If you want, for the sake of putting it on Twitter, if we want to put it at 17.5, that's fine. But I'm going to take it at 17. I will have Florida minus 17 as a best bet against South Florida. And I will definitely be looking at Mississippi State at this point.
Yep. All right, that's it. Thank you guys for bearing with us. This is a long episode. We talked about a lot of stuff.
It
I
was
can
fun though.
guarantee you that this slate coming up in week 2, it's college football. We love it, but it's not as good as the week 1 slate. All of those weekends are kind of, those surprise you sometimes.
And this is a great time for anybody that's still here. Then maybe this doesn't even apply to you, but Tyler does a great job of combating these longer episodes by putting breakouts on our YouTube. And like, so if you just want to hear about certain parts of the like Tyler does a great job of putting some breakouts out. Sorry if you weren't planning on breaking things out. I just announced that. But yeah,
Yep.
like this coming up week when we're talking about matchups, for example, Oklahoma, Michigan, like if you want to hear the Oklahoma, we want you to hear the whole episode. But if you're an Oklahoma fan and you want to hear really just the Oklahoma, Michigan part, you can go to our YouTube. You
Yep.
can definitely hit that subscribe button and you can watch and listen to the Oklahoma, Michigan breakdown without having to watch the rest of it. But
Yep.
again, watch the rest of it. Like we're ball knowers, so watch the rest
Yeah.
of it. But thanks for
It's
tuning
pretty
in, guys.
solid.
This was fun.
Yep. This was fun. We'll be back on Thursday with week 2 preview. So for Lance Barton, I'm Tyler Noe. Take care. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you next time.